Hi everybody, welcome back to the Moose. Let's look at this third measure again and just go over this really quick. Again, this is our measure between the lines. We're in 4/4 time, so we know that within this measure we have 4 beats. So again, we're looking at the first 2 eighth notes, and that's 1 beat associated with the 2 of them. And then moving on to the next 2 eighth notes, there's another beat, so that's 1 beat, 2 beat. And now on to the quarter note, which has a beat associated with it. And again on to the next quarter notes, which has 1 beat associated with it. And it still has 1 beat associated because we're playing the 2 notes at the same time. Now I'm just going to run this MIDI now just for a second, so you can listen to, and you're going to see a green line go across the tablature and the standard notation as well. So I'd like you to just listen to the MIDI and count it out with the MIDI as well, if you can, and kind of look to these first several measures to hear what it sounds like. So just have a listen to this now. Okay, now you can hear the separation of notes within those measures. When we got to the quarter note, again we had to let that ring for that 1 beat, and let this ring as well for that beat. Again, the eighth notes were being played consecutively, two half beats within the two notes. Okay, now this is why I wanted to explain again about the rests in musical notation. And if we come down here and look at measure 6 in the musical notation, we're going to see a quarter note rest. Okay, now I'm going to play measures 5 and 6 for you. Okay, and just have a listen to how measures 5 and 6 sound now. Okay, and you can hear there was bop, ba da da. Well, in between that bop, ba da da, that was our quarter note rest. Okay. Now let's have a listen to measures 12 and 13. Okay. Again, it's going to be the same chord progression, but just listen to the subtlety and timing now involved with these 2 measures. Okay, here's measures 5 and 6. And that was measures 12 and 13. So you can hear the subtleties involved with the timing within those measures. And let's have a look at these measures 5 and 6 now. Okay, again, these five lines down here are the tablature that you can play through, and this is the standard notation on top. And again, every note in tablature has standard notation right above it, and that's again to help you with the timing involved in the tablature. So looking at measure 5, we're starting with 2 eighth notes. Again, the 8th note has a half beat associated with it. We play 2 consecutively. They're tied together with that flag. So we have half beat and half beat. There's 1 beat. Again, 2 more 8th notes tied together. There's another beat involved with playing the 2 of them. Now we're going to play a quarter note within this measure for our 5th note. And again, that quarter note has 1 beat associated with it. So we have to watch the timing there. Okay. And now we have 2 more 8th notes. Now I'd like you to look at the tablature first. You can see that we're playing on the 1st string with the 2 to 5 slide, and this is what the markings look like for a slide in the tablature. You can see that we have an arc tying them together. We also have a line sliding up towards the 5th fret. Now this slide, although when it comes to this slide, there are 2 eighth notes but we're only playing the first 8 note 2, and then we're sliding up. So we don't actually pick the 5, okay? But the sound of the 5 will be there within the slide. And that timing within that slide counts for an 8th note. Okay, let's just listen to that one more time. Measures 5 and 6. Okay, you can hear that slide. Bop. We only picked that one note, but we're sliding it up. And bop. And when we get to up, that's our other 8th note. Okay. So that's just something to be conscious of, and I'm going to be going over this tune as well when we get back to the chair and just picking out the tune. Now let's take a look at the 6th measure now. Okay, again, the 6th measure starts out with a quarter note rest. Okay, and let's look at the rest of the notes within this measure. They're all quarter notes. Okay, you can see there's no flag on these notes, so they're quarter notes. All of these notes have one beat associated with them, and also the silence of the 8th note rest has a quarter, has a one beat associated with it, so we can still count it 1, 2, 3, 4, except the 1 is going to be silent, so it would be 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, and that's the way you would pick that out on the banjo. Okay. Now let's move down to measures 12 and 13. Okay. Now this is where a subtlety is coming in. All right. And if we look at these two measures, there's no rest within the 13th measure. Within the 13th measure. Okay. So let's just count out the 12th measure now. We have 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay. And again, coming down beneath the standard notation, we see our tablature notes. Now, the thing we have to watch out for in this measure is that we're sliding, we're still making a 2-5 slide on the first string. But what we're doing is we're carrying over this quarter note in to the next measure. Okay, so we have 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and that gets carried over to the next measure. This is going to sound out in the slide and count as a quarter note, and then we're going to play the quarter note, the next 3 quarter notes within that measure. So let me play this one more time in MIDI and just be conscious of how this sounds as well. Let me play it one more time. As opposed to measures 5 and 6 with the rest. So you can hear the subtleties in timing within those measures. And again, I'm going to be getting into this in the next lessons. And I just wanted to look at one other thing before we move on, and that is, let's just go to and look at the tablature that I wrote for Cripple Creek. And actually I tabbed out 2 variations, 2 sets of tab for this whole tune of Cripple Creek, so you can go over and try both variations in timing out and some other variations as well within. One more thing I'd like to mention, a couple other things with the standard notation. Okay. Now if you look, this is the regular tab, okay, and there's a lot of slides and hammer-ons involved in the tablature as well. And let's just look at measure 2 now. We'll look up here as measure 2, and we're starting out Again, these are all eighth notes, but now we have slides involved. And we can see that the slide is tied together with 2 and 4 and also connected with that arc. And you know what? I'm running out of time. I'm going to do one more lesson on this before we move back to the banjo, everybody. So we'll see you next time right here at musicblues.org.